Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is. Woo! So anyway, I am out here in the middle of nature here where it's, well, besides that airplane that went by, in a very nice quiet spot, alone with God and Mother Nature and all the animals. So I hope you're able to get out. And there's times you need to make time, to get out in nature and put all the excuses behind of why you can't do this. And, no, you can make time for what is important, and getting out in nature is so vitally important. It's a way of healing, and sitting with yourself is a great way of healing and finding out who you really are and getting in touch with nature, Mother Earth. So anyway, I love you so much, and I hope you're being kind to yourself and others. And thank you to all of you who have been here, loving and supporting Starlight, giving me thumbs up, subscribing on my YouTube channel, leaving a comment down below, or even sharing my videos. So thank you to all of you. And also anyone who would like to send any love donations, you can through my Cash App, and I will have that information here. Ping, there it is. And before I start this video, hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't forget the notification bell, and you can leave me a message down below, beep, 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 and you can share my videos with your family or friends. Plus, don't forget my playlist, and you can also find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. Now, today is so vitally important, is are you giving all your secrets away? And it's, you know what, I'll tell you what, because we've been in the end times for a long time, is now for some of you, it's hard to say who you are, what you've been doing, when it comes to technology. And that is mainly what I'm going to talk about, but that's not all I'm going to, talk about on this video here. Is, I know when I started off using it was first a computer, and then it went from a computer to a cell phone, and I didn't want any part of any of this stuff. But as time went on, I realized I needed this stuff. I needed, my kids were homeschooling while my son was homeschooling. So that's what he needed, was a computer, because that's how the program was. They did start off with books, but it went from books to the computer because there was tutors on there. And it had a lot of families that homeschooled their kids. They loved switched on schoolhouse, is what I believe that homeschooling program was, for people who want to educate their kids at home instead of putting them out there in the world, in the public school through the government, So anyway, and I'm talking about technology, and I know when I started off, I'll tell you what, it was a very stressful time, and I believe we all have gone through that, learning how to use a computer, learning how to use a cell phone, things, not knowing how to do any of it, and I didn't want to learn. I didn't want nothing to do with it. So it's much harder for those people like Starlight who didn't want nothing to do with it. I didn't trust it, because I've been programmed, through the church that I was going to, that, it's wicked, it's evil, and all this stuff. So, in the beginning, you hear all these warnings, or you find out, whoops, a virus on your computer, your desktop, whatever kind of devices you have, so, and so then you kind of like, oh my, that's very dangerous. I didn't know by opening up an email, it looked like it was urgent. Hey, they said I was going to win a lot of money if I just, that's not, I didn't get no money, ended up being a virus all the way, and so But I'm kind of working up to, how we could have started off as far as learning about computers, devices, or whatever, your phone, and I had to go through a lot of crazy stuff on this journey. Before I got on this journey, long time ago, about your devices. And I'll tell you what, it is something. Now that I am where I am right now, and I've had, you name it, hacked into. And there's times that we're not really thinking of the people that we have in our life. And you got to really be careful, even the people that are really super close to you, people that you trust. And also, like with passwords, where do you leave? Don't tell me. But I go to the library a lot, and it's a very dangerous world out there when it comes to technology with computers and phones. And it is very scary because there's people like myself. I was grateful to have my son that was helping me out through it all. When I had a virus, it's like, help me. And he would come. He was so super, I have to say. He was really good. Anytime I called out, he was on a video game most of the time when this happened, because he did his, he went to his job, he did his chores, like a good boy, because his mom trained him that way. Make sure your jobs are done first, and then you can go on a video game. And so he stopped what he was doing and came and rescued his mom. He just got done with that little part of the game, stopped it, and came and helped his mom out many times. So, but it's not always easy to find somebody that you can trust like that, because they can go into your computer and find out stuff. And I've gone through so many different things with computers as far as, my information on there, things, a lot of times we're told, don't do this, don't do that. And I've been guilty. Have you been guilty, of like hearing stuff, people tell you not to do this, not to do that. And you don't really take it serious, and you do it anyway. And then you think that nothing ever happened, and maybe nothing ever did, but what if it did? So this video is really about the information that you're putting out there. And I started off on the wrong foot. I didn't know nothing about the computers. I didn't know anything. And then, yes, I was guilty because I already was doing it. I already was doing the do not do's. And then I found out about it, but I was already doing it. So it's one of those things, this is kind of awkward, because I felt like it's too late now. I already did everything I wasn't supposed to do. And you got to really protect yourself and your family, and the kids, man, I'll tell you, I go out, we all see this somewhere out in reality, somewhere in life, and see, I seen a little boy, and I'm telling you, he might have been like 6 or 7 years old, and he's already on the cell phone. He's like, yeah, like the Lizzie. I was like, really, it's like, I don't know what he was doing on there, but I was like, and it was a family functioning, it was a get together, it was a dinner. But where was the son? He was over there. He was all over on that. I'm like, now some of you, it might already be too late, because, like I said, with myself, I didn't know any better, but then I found out and I still was doing it. I didn't listen to the warnings. Do not do this, Starlight, do not do that, like don't give anybody your information, I didn't know anything about computers as far as like, it takes a lot of trust having a computer, and how many of you have had your computer hacked into? Yeah, okay. So even at libraries, that's happened to me at libraries, having your computer hacked into at a library, getting connected to other Wi-Fi connections out there, and it says, it's not safe, but then, you go to the library and you're like, I got to use the Wi-Fi, like I got to do this, and, but it will let you know, especially if you're bringing your own device in there, or, your phone or a computer. And so we're putting our information, so much of our information, and that's what happened to Starlight. I mean, I put so much stuff out there. I really, I did so much, And I really can't do anything about that. It's already, all that stuff is too late. But it's what I can do today is what matters. And what I mean by that is you really got to be careful with your devices, your phones, your computer, whatever devices, wherever you're putting all your information in. And because I'll tell you what, I've had some true shit going on with my cell phone, and it's mind blowing, and it happened today. But I had other stuff that happened before. Your phone listens to everything you're freaking saying. Like right now, it's hearing everything that I'm saying. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Which I'm actually really looking at myself talking to me. But I am talking to you right now, and everything that I'm saying, because I have a mic on my device. Because I always use the mic on my phone. Hey, where I'm going, asking questions, using a mic. So there's a mic on here. So anything I'm saying right now, or you could be in a car driving with family members and have your cell phone in the car, and everything that you're talking about, your phone hears every single freaking thing that you just got done saying. So they're spies. They really are. And you might think I'm crazy, but I'm not. I even went through stuff a long time ago with even a smart TV. I could put a video out there and warning people about a smart TV, and really will have like a little bit of views on that. So because being a YouTube creator is, I've learned that certain titles, certain, all these things do matter, because if you put a certain title and people don't want to hear anything about devices, they're like, I already know about all that stuff. I don't need to hear about that stuff. I don't want to do anything. I just, they block out the information that they could receive, and so they won't watch the video because you put a different, a title on there saying about devices. And then, a lot of times, I've noticed in the past is that, like when I put your flat screen TV is spying on you, I guess that was the wrong title, but is your smart TV spying on you? You bet your damn ass it is. It really is, and you might think that you don't have anything to hide or anything like that, but I'll tell you what, because we're in the end times right here, it's vitally important to really kind of be quiet about stuff, and what you're saying with your device. It is a spy, and it is listening to everything. Even those speakers that you put in your house, oh man, they're all over. When I used to clean, people had them all over in their bedroom, in their bathroom, in the kitchen. My dad has one. My brother's got them. Alexa. I'll tell you what, she is a freaking spy. She eavesdrops on your conversations and hears everything. My phone, this is crazy, crazy, crazy. One day I got so frustrated with my cell phone because the lady wouldn't shut up. She kept on talking. It's a Google Assistant, and I don't like her voice. Google, when I want to go somewhere, I don't mind her voice. But the Google Assistant voice, which I've tried so many times to delete that, get it off my phone, she's still there for some unknown reason. Of course, the people, who's running Google anyway? Who's running the, Google? And here, it's kind of weird how this whole system of the matrix is set up, how we're like kind of like forced to use these different like search browsers, to go on there. So, it's like, it's already you can't even trust those browsers in the first place. So we put our stuff out there, so when you look up something, it knows exactly why are they going on that site, what's up with that. Even when I go to the library, there's no way I can go, at a library and use a computer without them knowing who's using the computer, because this is how this matrix, they want to know everything, so privacy is very, very challenging as far as Google searching anything. And I'm not saying there's probably things out there, but how do you know really what you can trust out there anyway? You could pay money possibly to protect so nobody knows what you're typing into, or have a special browser search thing that, it's not a Google ran, it's some other kind of, but then how do you, all the lies that we've been told all of our life, how do you know really what is trustworthy and, safe? Even when you take your computer to get it fixed from a computer person, how do you know that, you put your stuff out there? And my heart goes out to people that don't know nothing about computers, and they go out, they need help, and they have to have somebody to help them out with this stuff. And so then their information, is, it happens all the time at the library. They put themselves out there. They need help and they don't know how to do stuff. Some of the libraries, they have really good people. I don't want to say good people, but they do have people that have technology skills. Not all libraries do. So there's many, many times I've gone in the libraries and somebody needs assistance and they won't actually do the work for them. They will actually tell them. So then the person learns not to do hands-on, but they actually have to, and that's the best way to do it if you're going to teach anybody about how to use computers, is tell them what to do and not to do it for them, because that's the best way to learn anything. But we do put ourselves at risk all the time. This video is not to put fear out there, but to prepare you and to kind of help you to kind of really think of the stuff that you're doing in front of your phones and what you're saying in front of your phones. Now, a while back, like I was saying, I was getting frustrated with the Google Assistant voice, and it was hearing everything that I was saying, and I really did. It just, the sound was irritating me like really bad, and there is certain sounds and tones that really could drive anybody crazy. And I Googled that. I was like, what is up with this voice, and why did Google, it's almost like, Google knew like ahead of time that Starlight does not like this lady's voice. It's a voice that, irritate her, so we're going to pick that voice for her. And it sounds like crazy shit, but who's running Google? Who's running the world? I don't know. Do you know who's running the world? Is it President Trump? No, he's just a puppet. He is a puppet. So, yes, you got to really be careful, because when I was so frustrated with my phone one day, and I was actually, had my GPS on, and I got so frustrated because that lady wouldn't, when I would type up or use the mic and say, hiking places near me, or libraries near me. And, they weren't doing this before. Normally it would just say, hiking places near me, and that would be the end of it. No, but if I wanted to look up a restaurant, she's got to tell me the whole history about the restaurant. No, I didn't want to know all that information. I will read it, So this is weird with Google, how it's changed, I don't know when, maybe because now we're in 2026. So, these AI stuff is being too helpful, where it's just too much, it's so one day I was just I was talking to my Google assistant that was telling me where to go, and I've seen a lot of crazy stuff with my Google, with my GPS on my phone, and I'm like, what is up with this? It takes me somewhere else, has me go around the block before I even get to the place that I'm supposed to do, or go down, it goes past the place and goes around and comes back to, I'm like, why did I have to go down that way and go down this way? So there's times I get very frustrated with the whole phone thing, with Google search, or even to find out where I'm going. And so one day I got so upset with this whole thing with the technology, because like I said, sounds can really, there's a sound that you might not even know that if you heard it, it might make you just go bonkers, And that's what Starlight was going through a while back. And so I actually got mad at my phone, and I said, Google, go to sleep, or turn off. And it's so freaking weird, It heard everything that I was saying, even though I didn't push the Google mic to even say anything. So it was hearing everything, every single freaking thing that I was saying in my car. So anytime I talk in my car, it knows all my, it already knows if I talk out loud in my car and say what I'm going to do, because I talk a lot to myself, it knows everything that you're saying. So I couldn't believe it. As I told the freaking Google, the GPS because it was taking me to the wrong place, and I would be funny. I was making jokes in my car saying, you know, I pay you and you're doing a horrible job and I'm going to fire you. I'm going to turn you, you know, turn off Google Assistance or turn off GPS. Bam. My GPS did. It turned right off. The map just right off the screen. And I was like, oh, what the heck? What is going on? Like, it's like, here I am in an unknown area. I don't know my way around. I was going somewhere like a library or hiking place or wherever I was going. And whoosh, it just went off the... So I was like, what the blank? You know, just by the words, like a command of saying, turn off Google. And it did. It really did. It actually, whoop, there goes my whole, like the map went off, you know. I didn't know if I, you know, like how to get to wherever I was going. So I actually had to pull off. It took me a while because it was like, what the heck? My phone wasn't even working. It was like, what the blank? So I got in a panic mode. I was like, wow, what the frick happened here? So I turned my phone off and then let it, you know, turn it off, sit a few minutes, turn it back on. You know, it didn't happen right away, but finally I was able to get my phone to function again. I was like, what the blank? So that was one strange thing that happened there. Now this morning, I wake up, I'm getting ready for my day, and what happened is where I was sleeping for the night is I was still not quite awake. I was kind of waking up, but I didn't quite wake up all the way. You know, you're half there, half not there. And I was ready to get going. And so I pushed the microphone on my phone, and I go, it's so funny though. I knew mentally where I wanted to go. This is the whole point. Mentally, so it's just my energy, my vibrations mentally, right? I knew where I wanted to go. I wanted to go get my coffee. So in my mind, you know, I'm thinking of the place, the name of the gas station that I go to in the morning. So I'm thinking the place. Visualize it. It's a visual and, you know, the name and the energy of that place, because I love these gas stations. They're my favorites because they offer more to vegetarian people than, you know, for, you know, they got more to select from instead of a bunch of junk that I don't eat. So I love it, and the energy is sweet in these places. So anyway, I'm thinking and visualizing the place, but I screwed up. Because instead of saying the place I wanted to go to, I said the place where I was located. The funny thing is, what popped up on my screen said the name of the place where I was going, which would have been 5 minutes away. But my phone heard the location of the place where I was located at. And I can't tell you, I'm just going to name a place. I'm just going to act like I was at a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot. That's where I spent the night. You know, we just, you know, parked at a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot. Okay. So what happened is I was thinking of the gas station to go to. But I goofed up and said Dunkin' Donuts near me. What ended up happening with the phone was what came up on the screen was the gas station that I wanted to go to. It would have been 5 minutes. But it said like 400 and something feet to get there. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what the crap? Wait a minute now. How is it like? And I'm like, but it said the name of the gas station. It didn't say the name of Dunkin' Donuts, you know. Dunkin' Donuts didn't pop up. and say 400 and something feet, to get to my destination. No, it actually was saying the name of the gas station, and it was saying 400 and something feet, which it's impossible. It takes me 5 minutes to get to the place. And so that's my proof that it hears everything that you're saying, So, you got to really be careful, because, there's a dark force out there, and there's a whole bunch of people out there of dark entities and all this stuff. And there's other things that I want to say, but I do want to cut this short. So you really got to be careful of the technology that you're using, and how you're, like if you have some plans of doing stuff and you don't want people, it's crazy, because we're being tracked all the time. But really, when your phone is acting like this, and it can feel your energy, there must be an app on my phone that can feel my, there's something on my phone that can read my mind, because in my mind, I was thinking of the gas station. I wasn't thinking of, like, I wasn't really at Dunkin' Donuts, but, it was picking up the energy, and where I wanted to go. It wasn't picking up the energy of where, because it was picking up my energy, not so much my words. So that's the technology that we have, is that it can feel you like that. It can actually pick up your emotions and energy and all that stuff. So you got to be wise, on your devices, and what apps are you putting on your phone? Do you know what apps you're putting on your phone? So really, I'll tell you, that's a mind blow in the morning to wake up like that, and then I ended up typing up or saying the place where I might have just, I think I ended up saying the name of the place. I'm like, what the heck? It's not 400 feet, to get to the spot. So I realized that it really was picking up what I was feeling. It wasn't, and just the other day, like it is crazy, the AI technology in here on these phones. So anyway, I love you so much. You enjoy your day. So really pay attention to these things, with your devices. So anyway, I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight, love, light, and peace. Thank you for watching. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight, love, light, and peace.